I arrived at my parents' house for the annual Christmas Eve party, feeling a familiar flutter of nerves, equal parts excitement to see cousins I'd grown up with, and dread at the inevitable questions about my little side hustle. For 9 years, I'd built Maple and Vine Atelier from scratch, an artisanal gift shop and online boutique specializing in hand-poured candles, small-batch preserves, and bespoke leather goods. It was my proudest achievement, but my older brother Alex always dismissed it as a hobby, not a real job. Tonight I braced for his annual jabs as I jingled the doorbell and stepped into the warm glow of the foyer, swept up in a swirl of tinsel and holiday cheer. "Jane," Mom greeted me, her red apron dusted with flour from gingerbread making. She wrapped me in a hug that smelled of vanilla and cinnamon. "So glad you could make it." I hugged her back, inhaling the scent of pine from the fresh wreath hanging above the staircase. "Wouldn't miss it for the world," I said, kicking off my boots. "This place looks amazing." Dad emerged from the kitchen, carrying a platter of bacon-wrapped dates. He handed me one. "Foraged these from the local farmer's market," he whispered conspiratorially. "Thought you'd like them." I bit into the sweet, salty treat. "Delicious. You always know how to spoil me." He winked and returned to the throng in the living room, where relatives clustered around a roaring fire. My cousins Liam and Emma waved me over. "Jane, you have to try my new recipe," Emma said, pressing a mini tart into my hand. Her tarts were always my favorite, cranberry ginger with a hint of orange. "Also, did you see the snow outside? Perfect for sledding." I laughed. "Maybe after dessert." Then, in a casual tone I'd calibrated through years of practice, I added, "By the way, I brought some of our new holiday candle collection. Winter solstice and fireside cocoa. Feel free to browse." Emma sniffed the tiki light on the coffee table. "Ooh, that cocoa scent smells divine," she said, examining the dark brown wax. "You really need to sell these at a storefront one day." I nodded, smiling politely. "I've thought about it. For now, Maple and Vine is doing well online and at pop-up markets." Liam raised an eyebrow. "A storefront? That's a huge leap." I shrugged. "Maybe someday." At that moment, Alex strolled in, tall and fastidious in his charcoal gray suit, phone in hand. He'd come straight from his executive role at Titan Tech, the fast-growing software firm, where he'd climbed the corporate ladder since college. With his crisp dress shirt and confident stride, he looked every bit the successful corporate warrior Mom and Dad bragged about at social gatherings. He greeted everyone with a wave, then slotted himself next to me by the mantel. "Hey sis," he offered a polite nod. "Nice candles." I hid my wince. The old routine kicked in. "Thanks, Alex. They're selling well online." He scoffed, sipping a glass of eggnog. "Online, sure. But real success is having a brick-and-mortar store." He tilted his chin. "You know, like a proper business. Not some weekend hobby." The words stung less these days, yet still, after 9 years of growth, they cut deep. I forced a tight smile. "Actually, our revenue for Q4 is projected to be 30% higher than last year, and we've just closed a wholesale deal with one of the city's top home decor shops." He arched an eyebrow, incredulous. "Wholesale? So you're shipping candles to other stores that pay you pennies on the dollar?" He turned to his friend Mark from Titan Tech, who'd trailed him in. "She thinks she's an entrepreneur." Mark, dark-haired and bespectacled, scanned the room. His eyes landed on the holiday wreath above the staircase, then on Alex. He nodded politely. "Interesting." Alex ignored him. "But you don't have a stable office, do you? You're working out of your garage." I bit my tongue. "Actually, we just signed a lease on a small studio space downtown. We're moving in January. We'll have room for design workshops and a small retail shelf." Alex threw back his head and laughed. "A shelf? What's next, sis? Gonna hire an assistant?" I held the decorative glass ornament I'd intended to hang on the tree. "Maybe." Our cousin Ben intervened. "Hey Alex, leave her alone. She's killing it." Alex waved him off. "I just think she's—" He paused as Mark stepped forward. "I heard about your studio," Mark said, extending a hand to me. His voice was respectful, tinged with genuine curiosity I'd never seen from Alex's crowd. "I'm Mark Lee, the CEO, Titan Tech, Alex's place of employment." I blinked, stunned Alex had introduced us. I shook his hand. His grip was warm. "Nice to meet you. I'm Jane Bennett." Mark nodded at the winter solstice candle. "That scent is incredible. I read your founder's note on the Shopify page. Love that you source all natural wax and local essential oils." My pulse quickened.
Thank you.
We launched that line last week. It's our fastest selling yet. Mark studied me. And you handle production, marketing, sales, everything? I laughed nervously. I have a small team, 2 employees, plus seasonal contractors. But yes, I manage most of it. He turned back to Alex. Remember when we talked about getting some custom candles for the VIP lounge? I'd love to get a few prototypes. Alex's jaw dropped. Prototypes? I didn't realize. Mark stepped closer to me, voice now soft but firm. Jane, if you have samples, I could send a list of scents, and we could discuss a corporate gift line. Titan Tech Holiday Collection has a nice ring to it. I didn't know whether to laugh or cry. I forced a composure as Mark's words sank in. Alexa's eyebrow twitched, his mouth opening to offer a retort, then closing as he sensed the shift of respect in the room. My mind raced. Alex had spent half his working life racking up titles, bonuses, and corporate perks. Yet here was my small business, built on my hands and ingenuity, commanding the attention of his CEO, offering a B2B contract that could transform my venture into a 6-figure revenue generator overnight. Mark smiled at me again. Jane, I'll email you my assistant's contact. Looking forward to more. He turned and drifted back into the crowd, leaving a swirl of murmurs. Alex's face was red, the holiday lights reflecting in his eyes. He opened his mouth to retort, but stopped, sheepish. The room hummed, cousins whispering, aunts gaping, uncles exchanging glances. My heart pounded. I found myself saying, softly but clearly, "Thank you, Mark." I looked at Alex. "Did you hear that, big brother?" He called me Jane. "Ma'am." Alex's mouth twisted, no words forming. He glanced at his phone, possibly to check for missed calls. I realized the moment had crystallized, the taunts, the mockery, the endless underestimation, all dissolved in an instant, when his CEO treated me with the respect I'd always deserved. Cousin Emma clapped softly. "That's how we do it, sis." Liam gave me a high five. "Haters gonna hate, but you just leveled up." The chorus swelled. "Congratulations. I knew you'd win." "Carl's give us samples." I stood there, adrenaline surging, feeling for the first time the full weight of my accomplishment. 9 years of risk, late nights, and relentless belief had led to this, a CEO calling me ma'am, a potentially lucrative partnership, and my brother rendered speechless, where he'd once held all the power. As the party's soundtrack shifted to "It's beginning to look a lot like Christmas," I realized the true gift wasn't the candle samples, the corporate contract, or even the vindication. It was knowing that respect and success come not by chance or by connection, but by persistence, by passion, and by the quiet confidence to build something from nothing until the world could no longer ignore it. I inhaled the pine-scented air, turned to Alex, and offered a gracious smile. "Ready to help me pack up all these boxes of winter solstice candles for Titan Tech?" He swallowed, forced a nod. "Sure, sis." I looped my arm through his, feeling the old rivalry soften into a new sibling bond, one founded on genuine achievement rather than familial hierarchy. And as my family's laughter and carols swelled around us, I knew that this Christmas marked not just a celebration, but the moment my small business stepped into its big, bright future. By the time New Year's Eve rolled around, Maple and Vine Atelier had transformed from a cozy holiday side gig into a burgeoning small business on the cusp of rapid growth. Mark Lee's outreach at the Bennett family Christmas party had opened the door to Titan Tech, and in the 2 weeks following, we'd executed a 6-figure corporate gifting pilot that validated our design, production, and fulfillment workflows. Now, with champagne flutes clinking around me in the soft glow of string lights and the buzz of the countdown, I felt both exhilarated and breathless, excited for all we'd built, but aware that scaling this success would be the real test. It all began the Monday after Christmas. My inbox pinged with a tidy note from Mark's assistant. Subject: Titan Tech Holiday Collection Next Steps. Jane, so great to meet you at the party. As discussed, Titan Tech would like 500 fireside cocoa and 500 winter solstice candles for distribution at the CEO's retreat in February. Our procurement team will need a formal proposal and draft SOO by Friday. Looking forward to working together. Emily, exec assistant to Mark Lee. I sank into my desk chair at the Maple and Vine studio, our newly leased space in a refurbished warehouse loft downtown, and dialed Jess, our client success director at OptiWare, and now consultant for my operations. Jess, Titan Tech wants 1,000 units by mid-February. We need cost estimates, production timelines, and a fulfillment plan. She tapped her laptop. On it, I'll coordinate with procurement to lock in bulk wax, wick, and glassware orders. and I'll reach out to our fulfillment partner for pallet pricing. Should I draft the SOGO? Please, I replied, voice steady despite the racing in my chest. Also, send a proposal outline, corporate discount tiers, customization options, and our Atelier Experience brand guide. We hung up. I texted Alex, bro, got big news, Titan Tech pilot. Need your help scaling production. I braced for his reply. Within minutes, congrats, you rock. Count me in, let's chat tonight. A pang of gratitude warmed me. The sibling rivalry of Christmas had softened into genuine support. Alex had incredible logistical know-how from corporate events at Titan Tech. His network could help me find contract manufacturers, packaging specialists, even expedite bookings at packing houses. I spent the afternoon finalizing my line sheets and budget. As the clock struck 5, I drove to Alex's downtown loft for our first business planning chat since the firing fiasco. Alex's loft was sleek, minimalist modern glass walls, steel accents, quite a contrast to our parents' cozy home. He poured us each a beer. Jane, he began, handing me a glass. I want to help properly. My connections could save you weeks of sourcing. He slid a folder across the table. Here's a list of 5 packaging vendors I vetted. I've talked to one that can do custom printed boxes with your logo in runs of 500 per day. Pricing's good, and a label printer that can do your boutique labels on demand. I opened the folder, eyes widening at the efficiency. Alex, this is amazing. I never expected, he held up a hand. I underestimated you before, but I see how hard you've worked. And I know you'd do the same for me if our roles were reversed. I smiled, touched. Let's do it. We spent the evening mapping out a production schedule, wax pouring on Mondays and Tuesdays, curing through Saturdays, quality checks Sundays, labeling and packaging Tuesdays and Wednesdays, courier pickups Thursdays to hit the February 15th delivery. We added contingency buffers for supply chain hiccups, 2 extra curing days, a backup glassware supplier in Chicago. By midnight, we had a spreadsheet that looked solid. Alex offered to draft a partner agreement between his event management firm and Maple and Vine, so we could allocate responsibilities cleanly. I realized that our partnership wasn't just about scaling this order, but building a template I could reuse for future corporate clients. The next 2 weeks flew by in a blur of beeswax fumes and label printers. Our studio bustled with activity. Maya, my lead crafter, orchestrated wax melting and scent mixing. Rena, now my quality lead, sampled each batch of candles for scent accuracy and burn tests. Eli, our new fulfillment coordinator, organized pallets, packing slips, and shipping labels. Alex handled vendor liaison, installation of a new ceramic mold press, and negotiated expedited glassware delivery. By January 15th, we'd produced 1,200 candles, overshoot to account for breakage, and shipped 1,000 units to Titan Tech headquarters via white glove courier. I tracked the shipment in real time. It cleared customs, arrived at the Titan warehouse, was forwarded to their retreat venue upstate, and was placed in the VIP lounge. On January 20th, Mark Lee emailed me subject, Titan Tech retreat feedback Jane. We just wrapped the CEO's annual strategic offsite. The candles were a hit. The fireside cocoa scent created a cozy fireside atmosphere in the main lodge, and several VPs personally asked where to order more. Thank you for flawless execution. Let's discuss a permanent gifting partnership. Are you free Tuesday at noon? Mark 1 let out a whoop. Alex whooped too. Our team celebrated with sashimi takeout that night, and I called Nora to share the good news. I realized that this small family business had cracked open a major revenue stream, corporate partnerships that paid wholesale rates, retainer contracts for seasonal launches, and cross-sell opportunities for our preserves and leather accessories. Meanwhile, the rest of the Bennett family buzzed with curiosity. At our first Friday family dinner in early February, Mom's famous pot roast on the table, our parents grilled me and Alex. Jane, is it true Titan Tech is ordering your candles? Mom asked, eyes shining. Dad leaned forward. Fork paused. And that you're supplying them directly to Mark Lee? I nodded, carefully pouring mashed potatoes onto my plate. Yes, we shipped 1,000 units. They want a permanent program. Alex chimed in. We're drafting a corporate gifting catalog, tiered packages, holiday exclusives, and a subscription model. My cousin Emma gasped. Subscription? You mean Titan Tech could send out candles quarterly? I smiled. Exactly. Plus branded diffusers, gift sets, leather and soy wax gift bundles. My Aunt Ruth dabbed her eyes. Oh, Jane, you've made your dreams real. I'm so proud. Alex elbowed me playfully. Guess the little sister's hobby just became a legit business. The siblings laughed around the table. Even Alex's jabs from Christmas felt like part of a shared story. Not a slight, but success brought new challenges. By mid-February, our small studio lines were bursting. Inventory software showed low stock alerts for essential oils and glass jars. One shipment of cinnamon-infused wax was delayed at port. A freezer malfunction threatened our jam preserves. And Titan Tech wanted a Valentine's Day mini collection in less than 10 days. I convened an all-hands at the studio. Team, we have a supply chain crunch and a design sprint for Valentine's in a week. Here's the plan. Oil substitutes. Rena and Maya will test lavender peppercorn instead of vanilla. Rose if the vanilla supplier doesn't clear customs by Tuesday. Subcontract pouring. We'll pay a local candle factory to pour 500 units of the Fireside Cocoa Blend under our supervision. Jam flash batch. Ali found a pop-up commercial kitchen we can rent overnight on Sunday for a small batch strawberry preserve. Label overdrive. I'll work with the Chicago printer for expedited labels and a second printing press on site. They absorbed the plan with nods. By Sunday night, our studio turned into an assembly line. I stirred the jam. Maya poured wax at the factory. Alex oversaw label printing in Chicago, and Jess coordinated shipments. By Tuesday morning, all Valentine's prototypes, heart-shaped candles, mini gift jars, branded packaging, were ready for Titan Tech's approval. Mark's second email came at 9 a.m. Tuesday. Subject Valentine's Day collection. Approved Jane. These are even more impressive. Please ship 800 units by Friday. Let's discuss Q2 and Q4 holiday programs on our call tomorrow. Mark Victory Rush. We'd maintained quality, delivered on time, and impressed the CEO again. Our team high-fived, exhausted but elated. By March, Maple and Vine Atelier had a formal B2B portal on our website, with corporate login, invoice automation, and sample order workflows. We hired a business development lead, Priya, to handle inbound and nurture leads into pilots. We launched a Corporate Candle Academy webinar series, educating procurement officers on scent psychology, employee wellness, and brand gifting strategies. And Alex, he pivoted from event management back to executive operations in our growing venture. He built dashboards to track corporate orders by region, product mix, and ROI. He even designed a successful candle in a jar employee gift pilot at Titan Tech's summer retreat, complete with a wellness seminar on aromatherapy. A new family tradition. By the time the next Christmas rolled around, Maple and Vine had outgrown the studio loft. We expanded into a 3,000 square foot warehouse, complete with a small retail front and an attached event space for candle-making workshops. Our online sales had doubled, and corporate revenue now accounted for 40% of our annual income. On Christmas Eve, our family gathered once more at Mom and Dad's house. Instead of the usual candle jabs, this time the conversation buzzed with stock, check updates, shipping deadlines, and workshop headcounts. Mom beamed at me. Our artisan business is now the talk of the corporate world. Dad raised his bourbon glass. To Maple and Vine, and to Jane and Alex, who turned a family hobby into a thriving enterprise. Alex lifted his glass across from me, catching my eye in a moment of sibling solidarity. And to the best partner I ever had, my sister. I laughed, touched. To us and to the future. We toasted, clinking glasses of champagne. Outside in the yard, snow began to fall, turning the world crystalline. I inhaled the scent of pine, bourbon, and spiced gingerbread. I realized that the true gift of our family business wasn't just economic success or the rarefied approval of a CEO, but the way adversity had woven us closer together. I caught Alex's arm. What's next for 2026? He shrugged playfully. How about we launch Maple and Vine candle bars, pop-ups in major cities? Then maybe a national franchising program? I considered it, eyes shining. Let's do it. As laughter and applause echoed around the living room, I thought back to that first night I hid my dream in my garage, fighting against gentle teasing and well-meaning doubt. Now, with a warehouse full of candles, a corporate brand partnership, and a brother who'd become my ally, Maple and Vine Atelier, was no longer our small business. It was a legacy, a testament that with grit, ingenuity, and collaboration, even the humblest beginnings can illuminate the world. And as the countdown to midnight began, I raised my glass one final time, to family, to partnership, and to making the impossible glow.